Hello.
Hello there.
How are you?
We're part of an amazing community
That cares for anyone who walks through our doors.
Together, we save and transform lives.
Working to preserve and restore health for all the people of Virginia and beyond.
While we're moving towards the same goal,
we're doing so with different lived experiences.
With access to different spaces.
And facing different obstacles.
I'm a first-generation Filipino.
I'm a lesbian woman who grew up in a predominantly Catholic and pretty small suburb of Cleveland, Ohio.
An African-American woman with her PhD in nursing.
Biracial, multilingual, bisexual.
A South Asian woman and a first-generation immigrant.
I am a Black Christian woman from the suburbs.
A gay man who grew up in a conservative, homeschooled family.
Being an Egyptian American woman, born and raised in Richmond, Virginia, and also being the first hijabi in my high school.
A blind woman who was sighted for 32 years.
It made me really scared that there was no one else like me.
I first felt lonely when I was in middle school as the only African-American girl in my class. Those feelings resonated again with me when I started my PhD in nursing journey at the School of Nursing.
I trained in Southwest Virginia, and one of my colleagues actually complained to one of the docs that I had created in a hostile working environment because I was openly gay and would talk about my boyfriend.
It's hard. And going through job applications and having to declare your identity, questioning if you should when you read articles that you shouldn't declare that you're an African American or that you shouldn't say you're a woman, it's really hard. And I think that everyone should understand that it is difficult to be someone of color that is going through something like this.
Living between several communities that have their own set identities, I've always lived between and on both sides of all these lines. And so it really has forced me to really see myself for who I am and not for how other people view me or how people think I should view myself. Being a minority is more than how you look or how you sound like. It's also how you see the world.
It's not very clear when you are in a new country and you don't know the culture, you don't know the norms, and you're trying to kind of find your place.
When you're blind and you're having a conversation with someone, sometimes you'll just be talking and there's a break in the conversation. There was a break in the conversation, the person was done and they moved on and I didn't know that they had left. So that's kind of a funny but interesting part of blindness.
And you'd have the people like, oh, you speak English so well, like you don't have an accent. And I'd say, I was born and raised here, like, of course I don't have an accent.
I had an English teacher in high school actually tell me one time that the way I write sentences in my papers is really different from students. She outright asked me if English was my first language. And it is, so it's kind of hard to hear those kinds of things. You know, you never really feel at home in a city that you grew up in your entire life.
It helps for people to know that, hey, she's just a person, and that's what I want them to know. It doesn't matter about the blindness. I'm just a VCU Health teammate like everybody else.
To me, allyship means being a neighbor, being there for other people. Though you might not understand what they're going through, being supportive of it and trying to understand and empathize the best you can.
I think the first step is understanding that you don't know it all, that you're going to be asking these questions to learn from that person, and to even start by saying, maybe I should know this, but I don't, and I just want to ask you this question.
Allyship is authenticity. In authenticity, you're able to really be ready to embrace the differences other people bring to the table.
The thoughts that come to mind to me when I think about allyship is kind of support. It could be different kinds of support. It could be emotional support. It could be moral support. It could be professional support. I kind of think of that word that somebody is willing to uplift.
I hope that whenever someone brings my race or my culture or my background into a conversation, it's always for the best and it's always to learn from it, not to look at the differences.
To have an ally just means to be human, to just have a heart and to not judge.
I think that when you live a different experience, that you do need others. It's so much easier to have people on the journey with you. One of the most important things I think any of us can do is to listen to one another. Just to really listen.
We're all on a journey.
As an academic medical center, learning is something we do every day.
We won't always get it right, but by learning from each other's experiences as we go,
and how we can lift each other's voices with empathy and compassion,
We can move forward together.